Welcome to Pod Junction Podcast, a show that helps podcasters who are using their podcast to grow their business.
Yes, welcome. I just thought you were going to say more than that. So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Matt Edmundson. Beside me is the semi-professional Sadaf Beynon.
Hi.
Who said to me before we hit the record button on the intro thing, because if you're regular to the show, you'll notice that we've changed the intro around slightly. There used to be a pre-recorded clip. We don't do that anymore. We just come straight into this and say hello. And Sadaf's like, I'm totally going to nail the intro this time.
I was trying until Matt interrupted.
Oh, so it's my fault.
Yeah.
So that was a deliberate pause.
Yes? I don't know.
Either way, it's my fault, and I'm terribly sorry, ladies and gentlemen. But welcome to the show. It's great that you're here. And yes, we talk about how to use podcasting to grow your business, because we're just big podcasters. We like podcasting.
We do.
We do. And we like to use it to grow our business, which, by the way, segues nicely into the sponsor of today's show, which is Pod Junction, obviously. Pod Junction podcast, sponsored by Pod Junction. We sponsor our own podcast. What's that all about? We're just an agency, a podcast agency that helps businesses set up and run their own podcast to grow their own business. And we have some unique ways to do that. If that's you, if you're kind of thinking, well, I could set up a podcast and need some help, check out podjunction.com. We'd love to see you in there. Yes, we would. Plug over, sponsorship section now ended.
Excellent. All right, so moving on. Back to me.
Back to you. Yeah, because we've rehearsed this.
All right, so in this episode, we are continuing with insights from John Roman.
John Roman, part 2.
Yes, that's right. And if you haven't heard the previous one, he is the co-host of ASOM Pod. And we are going to be learning in this particular episode the importance of having a natural chemistry with your co-hosts.
We should definitely listen in for that.
Yes, we should.
Could do with some tips.
The importance of topic selection and how to blend information and entertainment.
Oh, we definitely going to need some help. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this then. John Roman, the legend that is John Roman. Are we going to roll VT now?
We are.
And then, just so you know, if you're new to the show, by the way, warm welcome to anyone that's new to the Pod Junction podcast. What happens is we play the video and then you and I chat about what the guest has talked about and figure out what we can learn from that. Yeah. So here is the video. Then Sadaf and I will be back after this. Here we go.
So going back to the four of you guys with your different perspectives, how do you, like say you've got a topic, how do you make sure that each one of you contributes a unique perspective to the discussion?
Sure. So I think honestly, it was us selecting who the four of us are. And because of that, it's not an issue, right? We have four people that are very opinionated, some more reserved than others. And one that loves to chat. So I think it was in the selection process of the four of us.
Yeah.
It's not an issue, right? Like all four of us will keep talking. If anything, it's more of a challenge for the editing, making sure we can get it down to digestible with everybody's viewpoint coming.
Yeah.
And to be fair, there's some points where, I might be a little bit louder and I might lead that conversation. There's times where Jimmy might lead it, or Amir, or Brian. Yeah. So I think reality, we're still figuring it out, right? We filmed one day together, and that day that we filmed, you say you liked the first episode. First episode is the first time all four of us are having like a conversation. So it gets better actually, because it took a little bit to like understand each other and understand flow. So I think we'll just get better as it keeps going.
Absolutely. Yeah. So actually you said that you recorded 4 in one go, right? In one sitting. So how did you manage to keep the energy levels up? Because it can be draining, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it was, roughly we got there at 9 a.m. into the studio. We started recording at 10 and we were done right at about 5. And that includes a little bit of a lunch break.
Yeah.
I took everybody to my favorite pizza place here in Atlanta. Nice. But it's not easy, but I think again, it goes back down to, the selection process, right? The four of us, we were just flowing, and we're all, it's good because we're all very passionate about e-commerce. So it's interesting, right? It's not like we're just sitting there in a panel on a topic we don't care about.
Yeah.
We were very selective with the four of us, but also this go around Jimmy did it, but he spent time on it, finding topics. So each episode we have one main topic, and finding topics that he knew all of us were passionate about, all of us could speak
Yeah.
to. One
Yeah.
of us, at least one of us, has some hot take or unpopular opinion on. So topic selection, I think, is paramount and key.
Yeah. And who are you all involved in that?
So we're still figuring it out. So the first four, Jimmy did, and he's also already put the agenda for the next four, next week. So clearly, the way his brain works, he's good at that, right?
Yeah.
So I think, will we all do it in the future? Maybe. Will we find out that that's just where he excels, and maybe he's the brainchild for topics.
Yeah.
I think TBD. He has shown a propensity at this point that he is really good at that.
Yeah.
So that might be something that he owns moving forward. Yeah, I think we're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's exciting.
I think so.
Yeah. So again, going back to the fact that you've guested on so many podcasts before, are there some key takeaways or best practices that you have, adopted for your own show?
Yeah. So looking at what's out there now, we did want that was the main driver of having these different perspectives, is because a lot of times on some podcasts you really get in a group think and they're just talking to merchants, and merchants obviously have a very pointed view on certain topics because they're not looking at the big picture.
Yeah.
And that was something we wanted to address. We wanted to pick topics where there's not everybody's in groupthink. People are looking at these problems with different solutions. So that was absolutely a piece. We did want to also and we're gonna probably start to incorporate guests later on.
Okay.
But we didn't want to go the 100% traditional model, which is what we're doing today, right? Host and guest.
Yeah.
We wanted to try to build with the regularity of just the four hosts, which that still works. It's just not. It tends to not be as common.
Yeah.
But you look at the golden children of the space, like All In Podcast, for example. They have the mainstay, the main people that are always on, and then sometimes they have a guest, sometimes they don't. I think we'll go with that model. And the last piece is we want to have the entertainment value, right? So we don't want to always be too serious. We don't want to always just jump into it and only address the topic. You gotta have entertainment, right? You gotta have banter. You want to show the reality that we're human beings. We're just like everybody else. The first four episodes, almost all of it has it to some degree, but it might just be a trend in general. So the other three guys are all iPhone users, and I'm an Android user, and I dislike Apple, like, to a fault. So that's existed in the pod so far, is that you have three Apple users, and they're what seems like constantly chastising me for using an Android. But that's a relatable, very real thing. If you're an iPhone user, at some point you've watched and you've seen someone get chastised for not being an iPhone user, and if you're an Android user, you with certainty have been attacked for having green text.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that human element is kind of key, and in an entertainment kind of proposition.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, I had a conversation with another guest that's on Pod Junction, and he was talking about the parasocial dynamic. So like when you've got co-hosts, then, there'll be one person who kind of takes on the role of being the goofy one, and one that will kind of take on the role of being the serious one,
Right.
and finding those characters is.
Yeah, and I think we'll find them, right? Like we have an idea with certainty. Brian is he's definitely the funniest of the group.
Okay.
And has a very strong personality. You have a mayor who is the agency owner, and he's very I would say all four of us have great moral fiber and great ethics, and we always do the right thing. Amir is even a step above that. Like he is very deliberate, and probably a little bit more reserved. But it's great because that's the character, and that's really who he is. And I think Jimmy and I will go a little bit with hotter takes and unpopular opinions. So I think it's exactly that, right? It's not necessarily even character development with us, because it's just really us.
Yeah.
But I think we'll find what works and what flows best in the group.
If that got you curious and you want to catch the full episode, be sure to subscribe to the show. We've got plenty more great conversations coming up.
Welcome back from that conversation with John and Sadaf. Following on, this was part 2.
This was part 2.
So if you've missed part 1, which we probably should have said at the beginning, but we neglected to do, John hosts awesome podcasts. If you've not picked it up, there's actually 4 of them. There's 4 co-hosts. And so he's talking about this from that sort of perspective. So, but again, love that conversation. Such a legend. Such a legend. So picking up on it straight away, iPhone or Android?
Well, actually, I'm kind of in the middle right now. So
I've converted.
Well, I'm not sure I'm quite there yet, Matt.
In the process thereof.
Yeah, it might take a long time. I do love my Android. And I do.
You do. But you also have an iPhone now.
I also have an iPhone.
And a Mac now.
And a Mac. Yeah, so very slowly.
Yeah. You've moved off the PC into
the
Mac.
Dark side.
Yeah. Have you been chastised for using an Android phone?
Yes, by you.
It happens so often I forget it. Very good friend of mine, he probably listens to the show, Chandra. He's an Android user, and he and I banter all the time about iPhone and Android. It's very funny. So that made me laugh when I heard John say that there's out of 4 of them, 3 are iPhone, 1's Android, and he's always on the receiving end of the mic take there. So, John, listen, dude, get an iPhone. What's wrong with you?
No, John, don't.
So I thought that was great. So we might need a bit more iPhone Android banter.
Yes.
Although I am slowly converting you.
Yeah, so we'll see.
We'll see.
I might be able to convert you.
To Android?
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath either.
And it's funny because a friend of mine's got an Android phone. He needed me to do something on it, and I just could not do it. I'm like, I felt like, like my mum, some new technology that sort of comes out. She's like, I just don't know. That's what I felt like. I felt like the technological idiot when I picked up the Android phone.
Yeah, I get it. I was like that with Apple too. But maybe I just pick up on things faster because
you're smarter.
Yeah.
Younger and smarter.
I find my the Samsung so much more intuitive than the Apple. Sorry. Not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. I feel like this debate could go on. Yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about...
We better rein it in. Okay.
Just let us know, right into the show. Just let us know, Android or iPhone. I think that'd be really interesting.
Android.
Android or Android, yeah.
Freudian slip.
And what's the best put down you have ever heard or given to someone who uses the opposite operating system? I think that would be a really interesting one to go and research. I'm going to go chat GPT. What's the worst insult I can give to an Android user? I remember those. Anyway, should we talk about what he was talking about?
You first.
The thing that intrigued me about what John was saying there was when they set out with the 4 of them, they were quite selective in who they chose. Yeah. I noticed I didn't get an invite. Did you notice that? I didn't get an invitation into the 4. None taken, John. That's fine. But they were super selective, which I totally get, because they have to be able to work together. And so I think that I thought was quite smart, that actually thinking through who can you do this with.
Yeah.
One of their criteria being, obviously, they had to be, another word John used was they had to be really passionate. And so they're all really passionate about what they do, whether it's agencies, software as a service, marketing, whatever it is. And I think that's super, super important. So who can you do this with who's an expert in their industry, who's going to be passionate about it, but also brings that entertainment value? And thinking that through and being super deliberate in that, I thought was really super smart.
Yeah. Yeah. And not just that, also the natural chemistry that they have between them as well.
Yeah.
Plays a big part, I think. Yeah.
So how do you do that, right? How if you're going to go down this road, whether you're co-hosting, whether there's 3 of you, 4 of you, think that through. Be super selective in terms of who you could do this with, and the kind of the chemistry and you can bring to that, I think is super, super
The way
helpful.
they did it from last week's episode was they were already having these conversations, weren't they? And they decided to, let's start recording them and let's bring in other people and the voices. And so I guess it's something that's already naturally happening, rather than trying to go out and seek it out and may or may not true. Work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's good, because actually if you can figure out who you could do this with conversations you're already having with people, there's already that ability to talk together.
Yeah.
Whereas I think it would be quite hard if you were starting a podcast with 4 people, 3 of whom you'd not really spoken to.
Yeah.
Which is maybe why I didn't get the invite.
Yes. And they probably didn't want to fly you to the States every month either.
Well, yeah, there's that too as well. Obviously, I didn't want to also bring them down. Bring down the whole tone of the show. But yeah, I think it's really, really smart thinking on that whole side of things. And that the other thing that John said, which I thought was really interesting, was obviously they very intentionally want to bring the entertainment value.
Yeah.
And I knew that when we were similar, when we started doing Pod Junction, we were like, we could do a podcast where you just interview someone like John, which is a traditional way of doing it. And we just take that interview and we just put the whole thing out there, which we do. You can listen to the whole interview with John. I think that'll come out after all the 4 episodes are done. Is that right? And so you can listen to the whole thing, which is how I've done EP. It's how we've done Push. I interview somebody, and that in essence is the whole episode. Yeah. And I think you can certainly do that. But if you're moving beyond that, then the entertainment value is quite an interesting thing to think through. So when we were thinking about Pod Junction, we were like, okay, we should probably do this together rather than just you doing it, or rather than just me doing it. Because one, I think we've both done those, and we're just like, well, okay, I'm already doing a few of those. It'd be nice to do something a little bit different. Yeah. And 2 is the entertainment value, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think we entertain each other quite a bit too.
Yeah, and also I noticed that Jeff writes comments.
Yeah, he does. He's quite entertained by
it. Yeah, he's entertained by it. Jeff is Sadaf's husband, by the way, and I think it's just really interesting when he just writes certain things in the comments. So at least 3 people are entertained by this podcast, which is important. And so, that entertainment aspect of it, what can you do to bring that level of entertainment, whether you're a single person hosting with a guest, or whether it's just you, or whether there's, people that you're with? How do you intentionally bring the entertainment? What does that look like? Because again, when we were thinking about Pod Junction, we laugh and joke a lot, right? So as you can tell, we just laugh and joke a lot. And so we just do that on the show as well. And a lot of the jokes should be like, why are those 2 laughing? And it's just like, well, it's just the way we are. I was curious though, which one, because you talked about I can't remember who it was. You were right. We had a guest on the show talking about different characters and personas. Skip, that's right.
Yeah.
And you said you've got one who's goofy, one who's serious. So which one's goofy? Which one's serious?
You're goofy. You're goofy 99% of the time.
Yeah. Okay. And you're serious.
Yes.
I feel like this situation has been misread slightly, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, but I think, again, if you're doing that with some friends, I think it's understanding their strengths and weaknesses where this entertainment thing is concerned,
Yeah.
and understanding their character and allowing that to flourish and promote that rather than trying to get them to be something that they're not,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to co-host a podcast, I'm just going to make random comments. I'm going to banter. I'm going to make fun of somebody. And occasionally I'm going to bring a dad joke. And that's what I do. And I think I operate well in those boundaries. And that's fine. And understanding that, I think, is important. And this is where it comes back again to what John was saying about doing this with people that you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I guess in essence, you're the same person behind the camera and in front of the camera. And then you don't really need to put too much thought into it. It's quite natural, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Supernatural, super authentic, which is a popular word at the moment, isn't it? We've got to be very authentic. Very, very, very authentic. And I think actually if you can do that with people that you know, like there's a really good friend of mine, a guy called Tony. He lives down in London, was best man at my wedding. I was best man at his. We've been friends since university, which was a very long time ago. It's over 30 years ago. And I think it would just be really funny for us two to do a podcast. Partly, people would be shocked, I think, at the jokes that would come out. But I just think it would be, and we've talked about it for years, doing some kind of podcast together. There's a wonderful couple that I know called Shar and Dave. They're just beautiful people. Been married for a while. They've gone through a lot in life, but I've been trying to persuade those two to do a podcast for years, because when you just watch those two, it's just permanent comedy as a married couple, and you think that entertainment value, that chemistry, that ability to bring that laughter, they could talk about any kind of topic, and you would be sucked in and drawn in, and they have that. And so, doing that with friends, with people that you know, what you feel comfortable with, I think just all adds to the ability to be open, right?
Yeah. There was some. He used the word relatable in his segment there, and I really like that, because I think also part of what you're saying about the entertainment value and the chemistry, you need to be relatable to your audience as well, and I think that also helps your audience stick with you.
Yeah.
And also helps the episode to be better somehow.
Yeah.
I think between the co-hosts.
Yeah, that's very true. Because I think if you're not relatable, I was talking to, who was I talking to yesterday? It was a podcast I recorded yesterday. Valon from Behamics yesterday. So I was recording a podcast with him, and we were talking about search engine optimization. Of course, if you're not involved in e-commerce, you're just going to go, I'm just bored right now talking about. And I get it. But one of the things that he was saying, one of the key ingredients for successful SEO, more than anything else, and he said it's one of the key things that people don't measure, is relevancy, like how relevant it is.
Yeah.
And I think to be relatable and to be relevant are so important in a podcast. Can people relate to me? Yes or no? And is what we talk about relevant? Yes or no? And those two key things, I think, make all the difference in SEO. But I think they make all the difference in a quality podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the more I think about being relatable, I think the more it makes sense for a podcast, because to build that audience or that listenership, you have to be relatable to the people who are going to subscribe to the show and go the distance with you.
Yeah, super true. So how do you do that? How do you build relatability? I don't even know if that's a word.
Well, I guess you got to be you, right? Like you have to be authentic. That buzzword. And because you can't be somebody else to try and be relatable to an audience that, may like you for 5 minutes. You got to be you.
That's true. And I think you have to also think about your audience. In the sense of you want to know who's going to listen to this and what matters to them. And so relatable content is talking about what matters to them, right? Which also is relevant. Yeah. That whole, the two things I think sort of coexist side by side in many ways. But relevancy, be relevant, be authentic. Yeah. Anything else on your list? You took a lot of notes.
I did. Topics. He talked about topic selection. One of the things he said was like, topics that they all can speak into, and some might even have unpopular opinions about.
Ooh,
I like that because
yeah.
you don't all want to be the same, right? It's just everyone kind of saying yes to the next person, but actually having kind of going against the grain, I think adds to the conversation, adds to the perspective, and it gives the listener food for thought as well.
It really does.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it really does. I think that's a really interesting point. How do you choose your topics? Because when I think about things like e-commerce podcasts, the topics are chosen by who the guests are.
Yeah.
Right. So because at the moment we have one of our main pillars of content is experts, right? So we have experts come in and they talk about something which matters to them.
Yeah.
And that's how the topics are chosen. If you think about how we do Podjunction, we interview experts and we take snippets from. So I guess in some ways we get to determine the topic because we get to choose which snippets come out of that interview that we talk about. But I like this idea that what those guys have done, because they're not interviewing guests right straight away, they get to choose the exact topics they want to talk about. And this again comes back to relevancy, doesn't it? So what's relevant for your audience and what's going to make it relatable? I think actually that's a really cool point that they get to set that and they get to think about that agenda pretty well. Because I think if I was just doing e-commerce podcasts with me, I think the truth is we would probably talk about different things. Yeah. Not all the time. Yeah. You know, but I would maybe bring stuff in that some of our guests aren't talking about because of what I see going on at that point in time. And I think that would add some kind of value maybe.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
So yeah, choosing the topics, I think in some respects can be dictated by your guests. I think the other way, I've seen Chloe do this, Chloe Thomas, who's also been on the show. On her podcast, what she does is she'll go, right, for this month, let's talk about email marketing. And then she'll go and find 4 guests that will add value in that whole conversation. And so she can determine the topic and then she'll go and find guests to fill in that topic, which I think is another way of doing it, which is super cool. Yeah. I don't know if we've ever done that.
No, we haven't.
No.
We haven't done that.
Maybe we, well, we've kind of starting to do it, I suppose, a little bit with e-commerce cohort, the sort of e-com mastermind group that we're doing. But I think, yeah, it's one of those where topic choice then becomes quite important. And I wonder actually with EP whether we need to think about what topics we've not covered for a while and then go and find guests to talk about those topics. Yeah. Because I tend to find when it's guest led, you go on a run, don't you? You sort of, it's really fascinating how it works. Like if I think about some of the conversations I had yesterday, I had 2 conversations, one with Valon and one with Chi. And on one of them, we talked about AI and SEO. And on the other one, we talked about chargebacks. So 2 quite different topics. But there have been occasions where we've talked about the same topic. Like there seemed to be a spate of talking to people about how to do e-commerce finance. Do you know what I mean? Like how to do, what metrics to measure and how to do a balance sheet and all those kind of things. And then we'll go like 2 or 3 years and that kind of guest won't come on for a little while. I don't know what it's a bit like buses. Do you know what I mean?
All showing up at once.
Yeah. It's like all the experts in this particular area are all showing up at once and they want to come on the show and they're all great in their own right and they all bring something different. But yeah, I wonder if we need to do that with EP where actually we go, we have not talked about this topic for a while. For example, email marketing, we've not talked about that for a while on e-commerce podcast. So we could go, right, let's go and get some guests that will help us talk about that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It is. But then on the other side, that means more work.
Yeah, but if it makes for better content, then.
Yeah. Why would you not? So topic choice. Very good. Yeah. Anything else on your little list?
No, I think we've covered it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, do you want to close out the show today as I smack the microphone with my watch?
Sure. So
we didn't plan this.
No.
And Sadaf is racking her brains very quickly about what to say right now.
Yeah.
How's it working out for you?
So, thanks for joining us. And please, get in touch with us on social media. That's where we are on Instagram and on YouTube. And let us know what you think. If you've got any feedback on what we've said or if you've disagreed with anything we've said, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, how do we be more relevant?
Yeah.
It's a good question. Any topics you want us to cover? See what I did there?
Yeah, I did.
In an
Just
authentic
totally
way
butt
with
in
banter and
just-
entertainment. Totally. So I'm doing the close, Matthew. Shut up. What's wrong with you? I think you should finish out the close with an English accent.
No, I can't. Matt's great with accents. Me, not so much.
Go on, do it. I dare you.
Yeah.
I've never heard your English accent.
Anyway, yeah, thanks for joining us. Please come back next month.
Please come back.
Or next month, next week. And yeah.
What else is that? Just like and subscribe to the show
yeah,
wherever you get your podcasts from. Big thanks, big shout out to the team that makes this podcast possible. You're all awesome. But yeah, do let us know. Do check out podjunction.com for more information about the show. If you want the show notes, transcript, all that sort of stuff is on there. Are you writing notes, by the way? So you can say this next time. Yeah, no, not at all. It's all there on the website, podjunction.com. Do go check it out. Do get in touch with us. Would love to hear from you. Hope you're getting a lot of value from the show, but that's it from me. That's it from the beautiful Sadaf. Unless there's anything else you want to say. No. Awesome. Have a great week, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode at Pod Junction. If you've enjoyed the insights from this episode and want to hear the full conversation with today's special guest, don't forget to visit podjunction.com, where you'll find more information about how you can join Pod Junction cohort. Whether you listened while on the go or in a quiet moment, thank you for letting us be a part of your day. Remember, every episode is a chance to gain insights and to transform your business with podcasting. So keep on tuning in, keep on learning, and until next time, happy podcasting.